Welcome to The Big Idea. I'm your host, Faith Lark. Today, on The Big Idea, have you ever felt trapped by the rules, yearning to break free and discover your own truth? Today, we explore the life of a man branded an enemy for daring to question everything. A journey where you'll witness how embracing your own brokenness can become your greatest strength, but at a staggering cost. Picture a lecture hall in 1975, where a disheveled man stands before a stunned audience. The crowd shifts uncomfortably. A bruised apple rolls from his desk, coming to rest beside the discarded book. You might wonder why a distinguished philosopher would resort to such theatrics. But for Feyerabend, this moment represents the culmination of a lifetime spent fighting against the tyranny of absolute truth. Vienna, 1938. A young Paul watches his mother, a seamstress, methodically fold her best dress and place it on a chair. The next morning, she takes her own life. The crushing weight of conformity in Nazi-occupied Austria has claimed another victim. This moment burns itself into Paul's consciousness, igniting a lifelong resistance to any system that claims absolute authority. You see, for him, rigid thinking isn't just an intellectual problem, it's a matter of survival. Even as war engulfs Europe, young Paul finds sanctuary in the Vienna State Opera. While bombs fall outside, he loses himself in the soaring arias and dramatic performances. Here, amid the controlled chaos of theatrical production, he discovers a profound truth. Beauty and understanding can emerge from disorder. The other children mock his obsession, but Paul recognizes something they don't. In the opera's blend of art, emotion, and technique, he glimpses a more nuanced way of seeing the world. The Eastern Front changes everything. A Soviet bullet tears through Paul's spine, leaving him partially paralyzed and impotent for life. Yet as his body weakens, his mind grows fiercer. During long nights in military hospitals, he devours books on physics, philosophy, and art. Physical limitation becomes intellectual liberation. You might recognize this pattern in your own life. How often have your greatest constraints sparked unexpected creativity? At the London School of Economics, Paul studies under Karl Popper, the great champion of scientific rationalism. He excels, but something troubles him. When he questions the supremacy of the scientific method, his mentors dismiss him as unscientific. Their certainty reminds him too much of the dogmas that destroyed his mother. In their rigid frameworks, he sees the seeds of a different kind of tyranny. Instead of conforming, Paul begins exploring forbidden territories. He studies ancient myths, indigenous knowledge systems, and alternative ways of understanding reality. His colleagues watch with growing alarm as he challenges their most cherished beliefs. The question earns him powerful enemies, but for Paul, the cost of silence would be far greater than the price of speaking out. If you're enjoying The Big Idea, please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code for our free 7-day email course, Mental Models Mastery. Learn to make better decisions and think like Einstein, Da Vinci, and Socrates. Now back to the episode. In 1975, Feyerabend publishes Against Method, his intellectual dynamite. His critics are outraged. They label him the worst enemy of science, missing his deeper message. Paul isn't trying to destroy knowledge. He's fighting to liberate it from the chains of methodology. When you encounter resistance to your unconventional ideas, remember, sometimes being misunderstood is the price of being revolutionary. The academic world erupts in debate. In lecture halls across Europe and America, Paul argues that scientific progress often comes from breaking rules, not following them. He points to Galileo, who advanced astronomy by ignoring the scientific standards of his time. You might recognize this truth in your own breakthroughs. How often have your best insights come from breaking convention? Success brings its own burden. Paul's ideas spread, but often in ways that distort their meaning. He watches as others twist his words to attack the very notion of truth. The isolation grows, his relationships suffer. In quiet moments, he confides to friends that he never meant to become an intellectual anarchist. He simply couldn't bear to see knowledge imprisoned by methodology. Now we return to that hospital room where our story began. The brain tumor is winning, but Paul's mind remains sharp. The half-eaten apple still sits on his bedside table, a fitting symbol for his unfinished work. Paul Feyerabend's story isn't just about challenging scientific orthodoxy. It's about the courage to question everything, even our most cherished beliefs about how we arrive at truth. His life poses a profound challenge. What rigid frameworks are holding you back? What truths might you discover if you dared to break free from conventional thinking? The apple remains on his desk, bruised but uneaten. Like Paul's ideas, it reminds us that imperfection often contains the seeds of revelation. Your own path to understanding might require breaking some rules, embracing some chaos, and finding beauty in the unexpected. The question isn't whether you'll follow his exact path, it's whether you'll have the courage to forge your own. Remember, the greatest enemy of truth isn't falsehood, it's the illusion of certainty. On the next episode of The Big Idea. So Feyerabend dared to ask, what if science progresses not because of rigid rules but in spite of them? What if the pursuit of knowledge is less a march toward truth and more a chaotic dance? It's a provocative thought, isn't it? But what happens when we extend this questioning beyond the laboratory, beyond the scientific method itself? This week, we're not stopping here. Imagine a world where the very idea of nature is up for debate, where the lines between technology, society, and the environment blur into a single, messy reality. Prepare to question everything you thought you knew about science, because the next chapter throws another wrench into the gears of conventional thinking. Trust me, you won't want to miss this. Please like, subscribe, and scan the QR code, or follow the pinned link to get our free 7-day email course, Mental Models Mastery. 7 mental models used by humanity's greatest minds. Think clearer, decide faster, and spot opportunities everyone misses. Click the video that just popped up to watch the next one in this series. Or for episode summaries, behind-the-scenes info, and more, go to daily8.com/bi. Thanks for watching.